What's up, guys? Welcome back to Flipping the Script Fishing. Now, if you're like me, you hate the cold weather, and not only that, but you struggle getting consistent bites during the cold months. So I reached out to my friend Heath, who loves the cold weather and gets consistent bites during this time. Now, he does so using blade baits, so he agreed to meet me and show me how he uses them, and hopefully some of it will rub off on me.
You got waterproof boots on? Nope.
Since we like doing things the hard way, we decided just to meet up on the bank, and he decided to just jump on board. So sit back and just watch two numbskulls being numbskulls.
Don't be tricky, man. That was easy. What are you talking about?
Heath loves himself some blade baits. He's no stranger to catching some giants on it. Here's a few more recent ones. He's caught some giants, including two over 10 pounds, all on the blade bait in the coldest month of the year. So I sat back and listened to every bit of information I could, hoping to soak it in.
Give mine a little pause in between. Like I was watching Dylan and them fish the other day, and when the way they're fishing it was just like, little but fast. I think that mine's a slower as it comes up, and then I drop it, and then I give it a couple seconds. To me, it feels like, if a fish sees it from, 5-6 feet away, gives them time to get over close enough to it before you pop it back up to elicit that reaction strike.
This day the temperature was hovering right around the freezing mark, and as you can hear, the wind was blowing pretty hard.
$30. No way. Was that your vault? Yeah.
So I took a minute through an Alabama rig to try and snag my line that the vault was attached to. I did this for a couple minutes with no luck. We moved to another spot. I tied on another blade bait, and this is what happened on my very first cast.
Look at that. Cast it off. It has to. It's got to. Absolutely has to. One of them's cracked and it's cutting it. I felt it.
Even though I inspected my eyes for any cracks or chips, because that will often cut your line on the cast, I couldn't find any. However, after losing two baits on back-to-back casts, I decided to reel it back up and try a different rod.
Because it's cutting it right there at the end, right? Yeah. That'll get expensive. Yeah. There we go. That's steel shad? Yep. First cast through spot, old blade bait. If you're not fishing a blade bait, yo-yoing in the winter, you ought to think about it. Alright, you're gonna have to get the trolling motor. So I gotta put another stinking one on. Doggone it.
Alright guys, so let's talk about the blade bait for just a second, and just a couple different kinds of blade baits. Because of the popularity of the blade bait here lately, a lot of different manufacturers have been jumping on board and making all sorts of blade baits. So let me show you just a couple different kinds. Here's a couple I've recently purchased. This is the original steel shad. Okay. Now those things, they come in all different sorts of sizes. They seem to have a really good vibration. I have not used one yet. This one I plan on using here soon. And I know the little ones are really good and produce a lot of fish. So here's that one. Here's a Cabela's blade bait. I bought this one. I thought that red might work here in the spring, late winter. So I have not tried that one yet. Obviously, it's still in the package. I did try the one of those, is a little bit bigger size, and it has a pretty good vibration. I've not caught anything on it yet, but with the vibration it has, I do expect to. This is the Damiki Volt. This is one of, I would say, probably one of the better blade baits. Really pretty. They got great vibration on them, and seems to be setting the standard for blade baits. It's a small, compact blade bait that has a lot of vibration and a lot of weight to it for how small it is. So it seems it has most of the weight here in the front of the head, so it seems to do really well. But I know a lot of people catch a lot of fish on those. Here's one I got recently called the Ledge Hog blade. These things come in really large sizes. See that without the glare? I'm eager to try this on real deep this summer and late spring, just to see. Who knows? I mean, yeah, this is made by Ledge Hog Blade Bait. Ledge Hog Blade Bait. So Ledge Hog is the company. Here's a cotton cordell blade bait. I threw this a bit the other day. To be honest with you, I was not impressed with the vibration of it, and I thought it should produce well, but it really didn't. I don't know. It didn't have a good vibration on it. So now, what got this whole thing started was really the Silver Buddy. Now, Do It Molds has some molds that you can make your own Silver Buddy. I believe this is the original Silver Buddy here. And this is probably made from a mold. I don't really remember where I got these. But I've been throwing these for quite some time. And these kind of set the standard. This is where the whole thing originated from. In fact, I found these in my father-in-law. He gave me some lures, and I'm gonna put some hooks on these, and we'll see what these do. But these are pretty cool looking. I don't know how old they are, but interesting. I definitely want to try those out and see if I can't get them. They're a bit heavier, so I bet these would be real good for walleye and that kind of thing, stripers. Now I've thrown these blade baits for years, but not consistently. And I still have a whole lot to learn with them, and I know that they produce. There's all kinds of different ways to throw them and different retrieves, just like any other bait. From what I can tell, the effective ways to fish these are just like a lipless crankbait, really. Small pulling action, yo-yoing, even a consistent retrieve. But as long as you got that thump in there, they'll elicit strikes. I personally have more luck on the natural colors, gold and silver. Anytime they have that good flash, it seems to be a trigger that just, I guess, reminds predatory fish of the bait fish they're chasing all the time. And then that vibration that they have seems to be something natural they're used to, or just gets a reaction out of them. In the cold weather, it really seems to trigger those bites. However, I know that some people use them all year round and catch fish on them all year. So it's not something that has to be seasonal specific. However, they definitely shine in that cold weather because they get bites even when other things won't. All right, with the braid and for the leader,
I would not use braid. I think you need some stretch, some give.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna pull it out.
I got a fluorocarbon leader.
bad sign if it was spinning in air.
Yeah.
Blade baits are. Oh, something I tried the other day that helps with that. So I had about a 6 or 7 inch. I had almost like a Carolina rig. I had swiveled to 6 or 7 inches above the blade bait.
Yeah.
And obviously, if it starts to spin, it's not going to twist your line. Yeah. And it makes it look like it's chasing something. Yeah. But obviously, when you got 3 knots there, there's a lot to go wrong.
So will it vibrate more if you go on a hole closer to the head or away from the head?
Away.
Away.
And it'll ride higher in the water column if you just reel it. Just place it more water, it's got a wider wobble. And it'll cast better because the head is more forward. Away. Well, we caught some on the way out. We kind of made a circle. We caught some right through here. We caught a few. And then on the way out. What the frick is going on? No, oh. Hang on. Huh? What the hell? That's a different rod. Yeah. Yeah, we'll catch a fish right here, right now. I like that. Yeah, oh, babe roofed it. I guess got smoked.
It's only 5 foot deep.
There we go. See, told you we'd catch one right here. I got one too. Oh, I come off. Pretty good. Good one. There we go. I called it.
That he did. Alright. It's a keeper.
Yep,
for
that's
sure.
a solid fish. That's better than I thought it was when he was drilling it in. And he's up there in, what, probably 4 or 5 feet of water or less.
Yeah,
Nice.
he's shallow. Shallow. There you go. I cast off, what? Cast off 3 baits. Finally got one on a gold silver buddy. How about that? Old school. I'll take it. From what I can gather from most people who fish blade baits and have a lot of success, the common line to fish with them is fluorocarbon. That fluorocarbon, sensitive, but provides a little bit of stretch so that you can get those hooks in the fish, yet hold on to that fish. Now, the rod that I hear works best are your softer rods that have a softer tip to them, so it's not to pull those treble hooks out of the fish's mouth. You could probably get away with fishing it on your typical crankbait rod or jerkbait rod. I think that would probably work just fine. 7 foot medium to medium heavy action rod with a little bit softer tip. Now, when you set that hook on these fish, you're not setting it hard. You're just leaning into them and letting the hooks grab a hold of that fish and let the rod do the work. Now, in this video, I had success with a spinning rod. It was a 6.5 foot medium action spinning rod. Now I had that spooled up with braided line, and I had a fluorocarbon leader. That rod had enough bend in it that it took the shock, it absorbed the shock from that braided line. So they kind of canceled each other out, and it worked fine. Got hooks in the fish, and I was able to get the boat no problem, and the hooks seemed to be good. But if you watch the video, I barely set the hook into this fish. I just let it load up and raise the rod tip, and the hooks did the rest. As far as retrieves go with this bait, I know some people fish this, and it depends on the activity of the fish and the aggressiveness of the fish. A lot of people like to fish it erratic and fast, and they get that reaction strike. You'll see some people fish it off the bottom, pop it, and let it settle, pop, let it settle, pop, let it settle. Now Heath, when I was fishing with him, he seemed to like a long pull with that rod, and let it come up and then let it fall on slack line. He said a lot of times when he'd go to pick it up the second time, the fish would be on it, and he would just let it load up and reel in. So in that case, it seemed as though when he did that long pull, those fish would follow it, it'd start dropping, and they'd grab it. So when he went to pick it up and start reeling it again, or with this rod tip, they'd already be on it, and then the fight was on. All right, so next time you're out there and it's frigid cold, try picking up a blade bait. It's one bait that's not thrown all that much and has a good action. Doesn't matter where you are, and doesn't matter what species. So you can get some fish in the boat and have yourself a decent time out in the water, even though it's frigid cold. So I hope all this information helps, and helps you get fish in the boat with these blade baits. I know I'm going to be throwing them a lot more here in the future. So until next time, guys, tight lines.
All right, now how are we going to get you off and get you pushed off? Well, once I get on the bank, I don't really give a damn what you do.
Thanks, buddy.
Remember that, mister.
Unfortunately, Heath and I only had a couple hours to fish, and by the time we started figuring out the fish and where they were staged, we ran out of time. I think if we had a little more time, we could definitely put several more fish in the boat.
I'll push you off with the rods. Get quite as close as this. Yeah, look up there. There you go, that was pretty good. Yeah, I think if we had a little more time, I think we'd probably start catching.
We probably could figure something out.
Yeah, but
Unfortunately, this is going to be a lot of my trips here soon. 'Cause they went to 5 days a week on me now.
oh, they know you fish.
They didn't consult me, that's for sure.
Come on, tell you.
All right, man.